is a Singaporean special education teacher and these juniors in Singapore. She is also a registered behavior technician online at Autism Partnership Foundation in California. Ladies and gentlemen, salamat datang, and please give a virtual warm applause to Miss Jothie Rojendran.
Hello, everyone. So sorry I was muted. My name is Jothie. So I would be sharing with you on inclusive education for children with disability. So in terms of education and disability, I specialize with children, work with children who are on the autism spectrum disorder, as well as intellectual disability. I will be referring to them as a neurodivergent and children who have reached typical developmental milestones. So they will be referred to as neurotypical children. Next slide, please. My quick background is, like I said, I'm a special education teacher. I'm a registered behavior technician. I'm also practicing it as well in behavior therapy. Next slide. I'll just jump direct into what is the importance of inclusive education. So inclusive education is bringing special needs children and neurotypical children together, giving them learning opportunities and experiences to work together and learn together. It develops and allows children to develop a sense of belonging and respect each other. This also incorporates a social learning and being able to accept a diverse range of people in the society. When we start from young, it becomes a natural environment for them to be in. Next slide, please. So in terms of school, a lot of parents have been asking, what do we do in school? What do we teach? Where do we start? So a typical curriculum contains fine motor skills, gross motor, all the skills that's listed there. Adaptive, how do they eat, cleaning themselves, using the toilet, dressing, undressing, what do they learn? Like, what do I teach them? Where do I start? So that's under cognitive. Social and emotional skills. They fall under as a social communication, emotional skills. They learn it together. And I'll just run through with how it can be done at home and in school. What are the skills teachers can use in school, the strategies, and etc. Next slide, please. So play. Play is a big aspect of learning. It not only builds receptive language. So receptive language is when we play with children, we use our voice to talk. We talk with them. We go, this is a red car. And they learned, oh, this is a car and it's red. So this is a car. This is a red car. So it's building up the language. And they need language to then reciprocate and have this expressive language of going, this is a red car. So they're going, car, red car. As well as play builds trust between parents and teachers. It's where they go, oh, learning is fun. Let's learn. While learning, they also develop social skills like taking turns, as well as this is the right way to play. But how else can we play with friends? So developing the emotional senses and communication between playmates, teachers, friends. So communication is a very big aspect of learning, and that's how we learn. So I'll go further on with this on the next slide. So the idea is to make learning natural and fun. So these are some classroom strategies and supports we use. So you can see there's a lot of pictures. A typical classroom where we have inclusive children, special needs children, we use a visual schedule. So as you can see on the right side, there's a picture and there's a few Legos, puzzles. So it gives a typical day plan for the child. So the child looks at it and goes, okay, this is my day plan. So once they're done, they know what's next. how can you start these approaches in school is using songs. Like in YouTube, there's some simple songs, those kind of songs. You can get the pictures and be like, give two pictures and be like, two of your favorite songs, and be like, what do you want? So encourage the child to first take and give you, so the child would understand that, oh, this is the song. Okay, this is what I want. For example, open and shut. You'd be like, do you want open, shut, or do you want 5 little speckled frogs? So take and give me. So that's how they learn how to communicate for those children who have communication difficulties. That includes nonverbal child. So once you have done that, they know this is how I pass the picture. So when I give a picture, I get what I want. So it's also a way to get children to express their wants. What we want to encourage is these children having a means to communicate with people around them, making them or giving them the support to be more independent. So using that, then the child is then taught by, okay, if you give me, you want water, there's always a set of pictures in the classroom near to them where they can give me, oh, okay, so I give the drink and the teacher lets me get a drink. I need the toilet, I can pass them the toilet picture. So this is called a picture exchange system. It's a simplified one. There is there is a cost that parents can access. And the idea of it is, like I said, to support communication. Another thing that I would like to state is that for visual schedules, it's nice when you rotate. So you rotate the schedule so that the children are able to generalize, they're able to cope. There will be some days where they have meltdown. When you switch the activity, they're going, no, that's not what I want to do. So it's more of a give and take. So just switch one activity. So instead of coming to school, we're going to play with Lego. Let's change to puzzles. Likewise, this schedule, this is not a typical schedule. There's a lot of pictures. What I would encourage is using pictures that are not clip arts, real pictures. That would also encourage them to have, oh, this is the real thing. It reduces the need for them to think, what is this? So when they see a real picture, oh, that's what I'm seeing in my life. So this is my water bottle, and that's the picture of my water bottle, not a clip art of a different bottle. So that's something that I would recommend. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is a plastic board. So this is my best friend in classroom. So I have a Velcro stickers everywhere. So it's my staple. This board has a long Velcro, and the other one has a round dot Velcro. As I go through the slides, you'll see how I incorporate this in the classroom. The idea is having a board that's stable, where the child can pick and give me. Because at times when you put it on the table, children do tend to push it to the floor, and then you're going to be spending time picking up. So this gives a stable board where a child also has support to hold and take. Next slide, please. Yes, one system or two systems that can be used in classroom or at home is called a timer or token system. So I'll elaborate on timer system. Token can be a bit straightforward. So timer helps child to transit between two tasks. So for example, when the child has difficulty distinguishing between activity time and time to have snack. So what I do is you can use a kitchen timer or a handphone, and the time varies based on routine, in the sense time to have snack, the child is playing and does not want to have their meal. You can go, okay, I'm setting 2 minutes. When timer beeps, time to have food. So you keep toys, so you show a visual of keep toys, and then it's time to eat. So when the timer rings, so then you go, okay, timer ring, time to keep, and time to go and eat. And the same thing between activity and playtime. So playtime, keep toys, time to do work. So what I would say is this encourages, like I said, transition between activities. It can be implemented at any place. So at home, in school, or even outside. So they are playing in the beach and you want to go, time to go home. Okay, 2 minutes or 5 minutes, timer beep, you have to go home. So it gives them a sense of, okay, when this happens, I have to do this. It sets a routine. And of course, increasing and decreasing of the time depends on the task itself. So token system, as you can see, there's some smiley boards. There's different kind of tokens. I'll just brief you very quick. It's actually a very big topic. So there's 3, 5, 10 token systems accordingly. So let me just go with 3, a simple one. So you want to establish your child to have good eye contact with you. So you have a token board, and you have 3 tokens, and be like, whenever the child looks at you, be like, oh, that's good looking. You know what? I like that. That's good. That's 1 token. And after the child has gotten 3 tokens. So you want to also have to emphasize a natural setting. So do not force them to say, look at me, look at me. When they look at you, you support it. Oh, there you go. So when they've achieved 3 tokens, and you go, okay, well done, look at it. You've done. That's very good eye contact. So what do you want to play? Do you want to Play-Doh? Okay, 2 minutes of Play-Doh. And do not overuse it. So when you use it, it's at a particular activity and then done. And then go into a natural setting. Reward versus task difficulty. So the more challenging, so the child cannot sit still for long, or your child is not sitting still when doing work. You can use the token system. I like the way you're sitting nicely. Here you go. And then you're looking at your work. There you go, and others. So it enforces a routine and also encourages support learning. So they look forward to acquiring their developmental milestone. Next slide, please. Okay, so going into curriculum, we have fine motor skills. So these are some of the fine motor skills we use in school, can be at home. So you have shape sorter, Play-Doh, threading toys. Cutting skills, I have to emphasize, please have supervision when they're using any form of knife or scissors, even maybe a plastic scissors or toy. As well as painting, I encourage water-based. It's easier to clean. It's easier to wash off. As far as for Play-Doh, there's store and homemade. So if your child or your student is someone who loves to put things in the mouth, like Play-Doh, they like the chewing. I do have a recipe on the next slide where it's homemade recipes. You could screenshot, and these are safe. So they're all home ingredients where they can, even if they happen to chew on it, it's still safe. It's just something I wanted to share with you. Next slide, please. Following fine play. So after how they learn fine motors by playing, it's to strengthen their finger strength to hold a pencil. Followed by how do they learn writing is by scribbling, by coloring, tracing. So those are the forms of lines that we start off with. Horizontal, vertical, curve, zigzag, and followed by tracing shapes, circle, square, triangle, rectangle, those basic shapes. And name recognition, as you can see on the picture, that's the board I use. So that's one of my students' name. So what I would do is, first thing, another thing I have to emphasize, start with lower alphabets, because in the real world out there, most of the words that you're going to be coming across, traffic signals, any kind of documents, it's going to be in lowercase. So I advocate for lowercase recognition first, even if it's sight words. So what I would do is put out their name and then get them to match alphabet to alphabet. If the name is Ron, it's R-O-N, you match R-O-N. And it may seem like an easy task or activity to us, but for special needs and neurodivergent children, it takes a lot of skills to understand that this is an alphabet, but that's my name. And labeling their items that's on their bag, their bookshelf, their cubbies, their shoes, it emphasizes that, oh, this is my name. So that also incorporates where you go, you're calling the child Ron, and the Ron knows that, oh, that's my name. That's where also you can use the token system. So when they respond in Ron, oh, there you go, that's your name. And they go, Alice, and they don't reply to you. So the child knows that that's not my name. So after that, they learn to do free writing, which is typically we start with writing of their name. And yes, so I would, this is more fine motor skills. Can I have next slide, please? So gross motor skills, they're basically children starting to walk, run, balancing themselves. play skills in the playground, catching, ball, throwing, all of these, when done in terms of in a small group, it also encourages that turn taking and social. So it covers both social, emotional aspect. They learn how to take turns, play with friends, share toys. So that's gross motor skills. There are some sensory overload that can occur during gross motor skills, which I will go through later as well on what those are and how we can work with parents, with teachers in classroom and at home when that happens. Next slide, please. Right. So adaptive, like I said, it's separated into mealtime, dressing, and keeping themselves clean. And one challenge that I think a lot of parents and teachers face is introducing new food. So that's where we come with our negotiation skills. Another thing is teaching children how to use utensils, spoon, fork. I always start with hand over hand. So having hold over the child's hand and consuming it, like this is how you eat. And I have to say, children of special needs may not learn it overnight, may not learn in one sitting. It may take months, and having patience, especially during mealtime, because it can get messy. So if you have allocated half an hour is for mealtime, what you do is that make sure you have some time, 10 minutes before and after for cleanup as well. And a big shout out to all parents is please avoid sugar and MSG. Children who consume sugar-rich food, especially autistic children, they may show signs of hyperactivity, and it's better to maintain a balanced sugar level. Likewise for MSG, that's monosodium glutamate. It can cause overstimulation in the brain and it leads to hyperactivity. So what do we mean by hyperactivity? They are overwhelmed with senses. So the light is too bright. The fan, I can hear the fan whirling. So it just makes their senses become very sensitive, and that inhibits them from learning as well. And it does pose a challenge. And for drinks, water would be the best. So minimize soft drinks. I do not say that avoid it completely, but probably once in a while. So you would like to promote healthy eating lifestyle with them. And in classroom at home, do encourage independence. Get them to retrieve their own water bottle, like get your water bottle. So initially you go with them to get the water bottle. After that, get them to get their own water bottle, their food. So the idea of teaching in school or being at home is you want the child to be independent, give them good quality of life. You want them to grow up being able to support their own need. So also with requesting, so when they are giving, like when you're getting the water bottle, be like, I want water bottle. So teaching that hand sign would also encourage, for example, they want a toy and they can actually generalize it over and going, I want a water bottle or a bubbles, which you're looking at. And when you're giving them a toy like bubbles, bubbles. So they get to see that, oh, this is bubbles. Kids need a lot of receptive language. So use words. That's what's gonna get that language into them. And a simple thing as inserting straw into that packet drink is a huge feat for them. It's a huge achievement. So that's also part of being able to be independent. Next slide, please. Okay, so introducing new food to children. So food, it can be made into play. Parents who are concerned that we don't want to waste food. I'm not talking about having a whole big papaya. No, it's just like a small slice. Slice it up. Let the child play, squish. Let them know that it's fun. It's not something to dread. And as one other thing is that do this away from their mealtime. So if kids are eating at the dinner table, you want this plate to be, for example, outdoor on a kitchen floor. So the child is able to distinguish between, that's playtime, and when I'm on the table, it's mealtime. So it reduces the pressure of a child being able to feel that, oh no, I have to eat the food. So distinguish between playtime and mealtime. Other than that, play actually encourages sensory exploration. They would eventually learn to, like, when they're playing, a juice will go into the mouth, and they will learn to like food. That's the ideal scenario of what we want. We also want to introduce food that eventually want them to try. Like, you don't want them to avoid food. So you don't start off with lemon. We don't want child to feel adverse of food. So what we want is food that's naturally around them. At the same time, when you introduce the food, make it a colorful container, not a plain white plate. Make it colorful, interesting, as well as incorporate various texture, color, shape, size. So what do I mean by size? You want to introduce to a child, a baby or a 1-year-old child, pureed food, not solid food. And how does the child play? So you want it to be interactive, as well as encourage parents and teachers to always have learned some first aid. It would ease pressure on you as well. Should something go wrong, you know what to do next. So make art out of those kind of food. Like you have parade, make a smiley face, draw a circle, triangle, incorporate education with food and playtime. Other than that, during play with food, make food like you want to eat yummy. That's yummy, but don't pressure them. Say, try it. No, it's about having fun. You do not want to pressurize them. Just relax, have fun with your child, have fun with your students. That's ideally what we would want to have in a food play. Otherwise, negotiation. So for older kids, when you want to negotiate, you may use one of the favorite food versus a fruit that you want to try. For example, mango or watermelon. So, okay, you have a small chip size of watermelon and you get your favorite food, a slice. So that's what I mean by ratio of 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. This is not going to happen overnight as well. It may take weeks, it may take months. So you would probably want to go 1-to-1. And when the child has tried it, even if it's just tasted, it'd be like, well done, that was so brave of you. I absolutely love how brave you are. So give them the confidence. Let them know that it's really fun and you're proud of them. It's basically a kite method. You should know when to pull and push. Like the child completely hates watermelon, change the fruit the next time. Probably let's try banana instead. And then maybe 2-3 weeks later, then introduce a bit of watermelon. If it's not watermelon fruit, probably watermelon juice. Likewise, don't force them, encourage them. Next slide, please. Right, adaptive being personal hygiene. This is where washing hands, being able to use the toilet independently, cleaning their nose when a flu is running. How we would start off in school at home is using visuals and verbal prompts. So, and you want to fade off prompts over. So a quick demo would be bring the child to the toilet. You have the pictures and you go, okay, on the tap, get some soap, rub. So you have picture, verbal, and you demonstrate and work with them. And then you pull back. You just use your visual cards and your verbal, followed by just verbal and gesture pointing to the tap. What do you do? So making them recall. And fading it off more, probably just using a gesture or just going wash hands, and the following one, soap. So pointing to the soap. Ultimately, you want them to be independent, like I said, being able to use the toilet. These are basic hygiene skills. Some kids may take up to a year, 2 years to learn this, but they do. It's not about giving up. It's just giving repeated exposure, and it's a routine. This is how it's done. And once you have learned routine in a particular toilet, you can change the structure a bit so that they're able to generalize. So when you bring them outside, they are able to generalize. They don't feel lost. They don't feel overwhelmed. Oh, that's washed. That's soap. So this takes time. Like I said, we'll keep working on them. Next slide, please. Another adaptive skill is dressing and undressing. A quick one is taking off shoes, socks, wearing them are all skills that children will have to develop. You have to teach them packing and unpacking bags. For neurotypical children, it seems very natural. It comes natural to them. But with children with special needs, even adults with special needs, it is hard having the motion of giving the strength to zip and unzip the bag, even their jackets. You can speak to your OT, so you can switch from zip to Velcro, buttons. Buttons is one of the most difficult skill to learn. And when you want to introduce wearing shoes and socks, start off with loose. So you don't want tight fit. It's going to be a struggle. So if you're teaching a child of 3 years old, use the socks of a 7-year-old child where it's loose, it's adjustable. The idea is to build the confidence and the motion of how to wear it. So when they learn the motion, then you can go into a size that's more of their size. So that's for training at home, and having adjustable straps or shoes where the child is able to have that space to walk around and learn the motion of wearing shoes. Next slide, please. So cognitive, these are aspects of cognitive learning and developmental milestones. So imitation is child, saying hi and the child says hi. So that's imitation. And action like rolling the Play-Doh, and they're rolling the Play-Doh, pasting the circle on a worksheet at this spot, and they're imitating it. Those are forms of imitation. So early concepts include matching picture to picture, functionally related objects, nursery rhymes. Those are all early concepts. When I say nursery rhymes, it might be simple as Old MacDonald had a farm, and then he had a cat, and the cat goes, fill in the blanks, meow, meow. So teaching and then working with a child to remember and then sing along with you. So filling in the blanks. Sequences is picture sequencing. I'll show you some pictures. Recalling events, you can use songs for younger ones, and older children, you can use stories, read a book, and then tell them to recall what happened in the story. Phonological awareness is phonics. So phonics is one of the foundation for reading words, sight words. Problem solving can be simple as puzzles, reaching out to what they want. So it may be high up in the cupboard and they come up to the parent and go and pointing. That's problem solving because they want something and they know they can ask an adult. So that is problem solving at a daily home routine. In terms of a bit more advanced would be being able to answer why and how questions in older children. Pre-math, that's recognizing numbers. 1, 2, 3, and being able to go 1 to 1. So if it's 4, they count 4 and give it to you. Typical, I think age of 6, they should be able to the developmental milestones suggest learning numbers up to 20. The next slide, please. So in class or at home, the idea is to build confidence. So for example, this is how I work with children. So you show them what's to be done. You do together with the prompts. You supervise them with prompts. And you let them do supervise and only prompt when required. And you want to encourage independence. So a quick run would be matching of colors. So you start with 1 and you say match red, and you give them the red. And then following, once they have learned to match red, you pull off, you just give the red color, and they get to match. As you're building up, and when they match, you go, well done. I like how you have looked and you matched very well. So building that confidence is going to encourage them to learn better. Once they've acquired red, you want to switch to a few colors, or just stick with red. What I would do is stick with that one color red, and I introduce a new one that's green. So when I introduce green, I always start with red, match red. I don't teach them this is green. I just have a distractor there and be like, give the red. So if they match it wrongly, just be like, oops, there is red. Can you try again? Take it out, give it to them, and be like, try again. So once you've mastered red, then I would go with, this is green. So let's match red and green, and match, and you point to it. This is red, match it here. And then you give them the green, and you match it here. Afterwards, shuffle the color. So green goes on top, red goes below. So introduce one at a time. A personal story of mine is I thought I had a child who took 9 months to match colors. So like I said, it's not going to be overnight. Some children just voila, they get it. Oh, this is how I do it. And some special needs children, it takes time. So don't lose your patience. Keep going. That's how they learn. So have patience. And one other thing is that when you increase the color, you will actually realize that their visual span increases. So they grows up to down of the worksheet. That also generalizes over when things are lost, they actually look elsewhere rather than just within a particular visual, in particular side of the table. I'm sorry. Okay, next one, please. So next slide. So cognitive. So these are some of the tasks that I work with younger children. So being able to say yes or no, I'll have cards where they're able to give me yes. So is this apple? You ideally want them to give you yes. So initially you point to yes, give me. Colors, before I start with the picture previously that I showed, I would always go with like bingo. So you can just use anything that's in the house and be like match colors. So that's how they learn concepts. Shapes, always start with a solid color, which is black. So you want them to be able to distinguish the corners, followed by introducing different colors. So one triangle can be green, another triangle will be red. So having to match triangle. Alphabets for phonics, as well as alphabet recognition. Once they have mastered recognizing 1 to 10 and counting, you can go with recognizing word form of numbers. And the brown bear, that whole sequence you see is for kids who you want them to learn sequencing. So brown bear, then comes the red bird with the song, and you can give them the cards to go sequencing. Next slide, please. Social communication and emotional skills. While doing all of the methods that I had introduced to you previously, this can be done in group as well. And being able to take turn with different type of teachers in different environment. One day it might be in school, in this particular part of the classroom, another day with another. So it's able to generalize the skills that they have learned over different situations and scenarios. Next slide. Sensory. So this is the big. Sensory always comes in terms of playing. This is one of the biggest challenge. We have about 8 senses, so 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. So what we are being taught in school is we have 5 basic senses, but in fact we have 8. So that goes with balance and coordination. When children have meltdown, it may also be because of balance and coordination. Something in the senses is very is triggering them to have a meltdown. So this is something I just wanted to share with you to tell you that there's more than 5 senses. How do we tackle this in classroom or out of home? Would be in next slide, please. Yeah. Okay. One example I have is I have a child who loves to play the trampoline, but after going on board, in 1 minute, the child has a meltdown, complete meltdown, and he or she can cry up to an hour. So initially it was a challenge, like what's wrong? And then we realized that it's probably because of the jumping motion and having some occupational therapists on board who guide through us. So these are also some of the tips that was given by our therapist. For that particular child, what worked was deep massages from shoulder. So you just press them all the way down and give a good motion of pressure. And 20 minutes, it might just a simple hug would do. Remove the child from the environment. So if trampoline is the trigger, bring the child back into the classroom and then give that massage. Let the child calm down with soothing music. So one music that works very well is cello or cello. So it has a very low frequency or even toned music. So that helps with them. So and at the same time, in my typical day in school, when the children arrive in school, there is music, a soft mellow music running. So it helps them to settle down and have, if the light is bright, reduce the brightness. It might be just that they're so overwhelmed with the amount of bright light that's shining into their eyes. And you want to remove them from loud, noisy places, give them their space. Burrito is where you roll them up in a mat. So it gives them a sense of comfort. Yes. So next slide, please. Yeah, so that was my end of presentation. One thing that I had not included is being mindful. As much as today's, it's a lot to take in today, but I want to part a message where parents and teachers also have to be have to take care of their mental health. So practice mindfulness, as well as what we call is observe, wait, and then you listen. So you observe what the child is doing. You see what's causing that, and then you listen to them. You work with them along with them. Another one would be, like I said, mindfulness. Have some time to yourself. I do understand that it's very hard to get a break in between the child is with you the whole day. Enjoy the smallest thing, like making tea, pouring the cup hot water into the cup, mixing the coffee. Enjoy the smallest parts of your daily life, and that's what we call having a mindful practice. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you. I'm very thankful to Mr. Roland, Mark, I think Jane. Yes, thank you. If you got any questions or concerns, you can always reach out. That's my email address there. You can write in. I would love to give any support that's within my means.
Terima kasih, Miss Jothie.
Thank you.
Wait, what does it mean? Terima kasih mean? What do we mean?
Literally in Bahasa Malaysia means thank you. Her presentation is wonderful, and I've learned a lot. Thank you for educating us. And I will share this to my co-parents with child diagnosed with ASD. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
I agree with you, buddy. Thank you, Miss Jothie. It's really a refresher for me. Yeah, because I'm also as a teacher, it's very helpful. Also looking back, because I also handled children with autism. So, but I gained a lot from your presentation. Just for a few minutes, what you explained, the details. I would like to bring with me when you say that we always need to encourage the students, no, especially those students with special needs, encourage and teaching them on a simpler way, especially when you said that we need to also use the play, the approach play, even if they are eating, so that they can also distinguish and you can introduce more food, no? Because sometimes the kids has to parents force their children to eat vegetables. That's why they don't like to eat anymore. So with the kids' disability, no, this is really a big help for the parents to know that playing in a way that they are also learning is one way to teach them. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
And we
welcome.
will be going back with you later during our question and answer portion.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay, so Buddy, can we read the comments in our comment box here? Wait. Okay, so I will read it first. Shout out from Western Bikutan, Taguig City, from Jane Baltasar. Do you see other comments there? Okay, so I will read another read. Later we will read the questions, but may I read first? Okay, so from Christian Chan, hi to Teacher Mel. And then, all right. So we don't have other comments yet. So for those questions, please wait for our question and answer portion of this webinar.